Mics are up for now. Let's do a check on here. Do a check on here. All right, sounds good. That means it's all good. Let's get Facebook running. Facebook's up. You know when you have cam. Do you have cam?
No.
What is that noise? I just texted him, said ready for you. He should be coming in any
On
second.
hold.
Got it. Beautiful. Let me check my GUIs here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, no, I'm just checking my GUIs up here. I'm running them now on the big screen now that I have it all set up and ready to rumble. Mark Levin's mug is up there on Fox. Can't stand that guy. Been great one. Okay, Sean.
$30.
Your receive looks good. My levels look good. Love it. Okay. What are we on the CZ mic, right? Car Firearms Group Studios. Slow coming out of the gate, but we'll rock and roll. I'm ready when you are. Too late not to be now.
Right?
Too late not to be ready now, right?
Yep.
This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's daily defense. Because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association. From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
All right, guys, welcome in. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast begins anew right now. Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing today?
Not pretty good. Here we are.
Car Firearms Group Studios are rocking and rolling right now. The lights are on. Let's see, check everything in here. Everything's looking good. The on-air light is on. Yes. The CZ mic is lit up. That's new, huh?
All lit up.
At the Car Firearms Group Studios here at the Patriot Mobile Command Center. Greg, we're live on all the platforms, including Facebook.com/Armed American Radio, Facebook.com/Armed American Radio. I'll let you do your spewel, and then we'll get cracking right over there with Cam Edwards, who's going to join us for the first half of the hour today.
Yeah, sure. Other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube and Rumble. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters over there at X. We are at AAR Mark. You can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, and then select that Watch Live or Listen Live option. And if you'd like to join our live chat, just head over to your app store, grab the Telegram messaging app, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
All right, let's get started. Cam Edwards, BearingArms.com, Cam and Company. Let's do a catch up with Cam for the first half hour of the show today. Cam, how are you today, my friend?
I'm good, Mark. This is my birthday weekend. Just got back into town a couple of hours ago. Yeah, so
good for you. So you just
glad to hang out with you for a little bit.
Just turned 25, huh? We'll stick with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it,
why
right?
not?
Let's go. Let's go with 35. That might be a little more believable. How about that? You don't want to be in that 25
this
age
weekend
bracket,
that said, no, I don't. But I did get a sticker this weekend that said, growing old doesn't mean growing up. So there you go. Still young at heart.
Well,
and middle-aged and
my kid's wife
physicality.
And my friends will all tell you the same thing here, too. I can promise you that. Hey, let's get started with first things first. SAF and other leading gun groups, ladies and gentlemen, have filed another lawsuit, which is what you expect of them. This one is Brown v. ATF, filed in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Missouri. And this was filed 2 days ago on Friday the 1st. Second Amendment Foundation, American Suppressor Association, otherwise known as the ASA, National Rifle Association, love that, Firearms Policy Coalition, FPC, Prime Protection, STL Tactical Boutique, and two members of those organizations filed the suit challenging the constitutionality of the National Firearms Act of 1934. And Cam, as you know, the show is being presented by the National Rifle Association. And it's so good to see the NRA working so closely, hand in hand, with these other groups as partners now to bring our rights back to fruition. And I have a funny feeling that this is going to be a successful suit right out of the box. What do you think?
You know, I think it's got a really good argument behind it, right? So one of the things that we talked about with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is the attempt to remove not just the taxes, but the registration requirements on most NFA items. And the Senate parliamentarian ruled that measure out of order, so instead we got the removal of the tax, but the registration requirements still exist. As this lawsuit points out, the registration requirement is essentially, a registry of who paid this tax. If the tax is gone, then why does this registration scheme remain in effect, right? To quote from the lawsuit, nearly all of the firearms covered by the NFA, except for machine guns and destructive devices, are now untaxed. Yet the comprehensive registration scheme to make, transfer, receive, or possess those firearms remains in effect. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is the next logical step after what we saw with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act to take on the parameters of the National Firearms Act itself. And I think that, it's going to be really interesting, to see what the Trump administration's response is, right? So they're seeking a couple of things. The plaintiffs seek a judgment declaring the NFA is unconstitutional with respect to the untaxed firearms it purports to regulate, enjoining enforcement of the unconstitutional provisions and any related regulations. But they also seek a judgment declaring the NFA unconstitutional with respect to suppressors and short-barreled rifles under the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. So, this wouldn't completely undo the NFA, And I think that bends to a political and maybe judicial reality as well, that there is not much appetite to deregulate machine guns.
Right.
But this is, chipping away at the edifice of the NFA. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see if the courts might even go any further than what this lawsuit asks. I doubt that.
Ooh, yeah.
But a successful lawsuit here, right? But a successful lawsuit here, I think, would open the door to further challenges to the NFA in terms of machine guns and maybe destructive devices to challenge the NFA in its entirety. So this is a great lawsuit, and it's filed in a court where most, I think, 10 of the 11 judges on the 8th Circuit have been appointed by Republicans. That doesn't mean it's going to be a slam dunk in our favor, but it's certainly better than filing in the 9th Circuit or the 4th Circuit these days, right? You got a great coalition of Second Amendment groups, a lot of bright legal minds involved in this. I think, as you said, I think this is a winner of a lawsuit. As long as we don't see, judges play games with our constitutional rights, I think that, again, I think they've got a really strong argument that Congress itself now does not view the registration requirements as necessary. And certainly it's based on the language of the NFA itself, it makes no sense to keep those registration requirements in place when the taxation has been removed for these items.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we needed, ladies and gentlemen. I think you and I talked about this before on both shows, both mine and yours, on your podcast, Cam and Company, about short of legislation, we need a court victory. We need one or the other or both to make this work. And you're right on the machine gun. There is no appetite for that, ladies and gentlemen, as much as I hate to admit that, because I believe I should be able to buy anything I want as a law-abiding citizen out of a vending machine. But that, for now, is going to be an uphill climb, all right? It just is. So, how will they act? How will the administration? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch, but this is exactly what the doctor ordered. And the money behind these organizations in this lawsuit being in the 8th Circuit as well, this bodes very well for us. And I think what might happen is disband the NFA and then do something else. They might write something else relative to machine guns, maybe rewrite a piece of something pertaining to that, because they're not going to let that go. They're just not. It's pretty much that. That's pretty much cut and dried, Cam. But I think you and I are on the same page with that. I want to cover a few things that you've written about this week, because and one of them in particular, your story from yesterday on the city of Chicago being sued over the gun taken during the buyback is unbelievable to me. When I looked at everything going on here, I sat here and reread this thing 5 times going, am I reading this right? Boy, you talk about corruption. So let's just go here. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find this at bearingarms.com, bearingarms.com, a town hall property. City of Chicago sued over gun taken during buyback. You want to tell us what's going on here? To take us to the break with this, I'll stop you if the music comes in and you don't hear it, and we'll continue, because this is fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. So this gun in question was a Glock 21. It was turned in at a December 2023 compensated confiscation event at St. Sabina's Church, by the way. Father Flager, the anti-gun priest, hosting this alongside the Chicago Police Department. According to Fox 32, the weapon disappeared while in transit between the church and a nearby police station. But the lawsuit, which was filed by a woman named Tawanda Willingham, who was shot in the leg by somebody holding this Glock pistol like 8 months later. The lawsuit, who, by the way, believed to be connected to 2 additional shootings. The lawsuit claims that CPD officers assigned to work the turn-in event remarked on how good the Glock 21 pistol looked. CPD officers who were not working at the buyback event showed up at the tactical team office to get a look at the Glock 21 pistol. Then an officer or officers took the gun from the station and sold it or gave it to somebody, according to the lawsuit. So, again, it ends up in the hands of the 16-year-old who's arrested 8 months later. It's connected to at least 2 additional shootings. And the last time anybody saw this, it was in the hands of the Chicago police. Now, there was an internal investigation that it sounds like was abruptly halted. The only punishment, there was a sergeant who got a 1-day paid leave, basically, for, failing to keep this gun. And that was it. I guess since the press has begun reporting on the theft of this gun, there's been a internal affairs investigation that's been reopened. But again, Mark, I mean, come on. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah,
It's
hold
pretty
on
clear
to that. Hold on to that thought right there, because we're going to take a break. And when we come back, there's another twist here about the officer, one of the officers involved here. And I'll explain that when we come back, because this thing, folks, a gun buyback scheme. We know they're worthless. A Glock 21, which is a .45 caliber full-size Glock handgun. The cops apparently liked the gun, and somehow it disappeared and wound up in a 16-year-old's hands. And then there's, again, another tragic aspect of this regarding one of the officers involved. We'll explain it when we come back. Cam and Company. Cam Edwards. Don't go away. Guys, we'll be back with you in just a couple of moments. A little bit of work behind the scenes here.
So what?
Talking to the audience. You've got your mic is live. Say hey to everybody, Greg. Hey, everybody.
What's up, everyone?
What's up, everyone? What we're getting ready to tell you about this continuation of this story we're telling you about Chicago, it's just stuff you can't make up. There's too many twists and turns here. Methinks corruption is involved. But I'll let you make up your mind. August 3rd already, Greg.
Yeah.
Hola to all you in the chat. See all the familiar faces. Good to have you here.
30.
Martin says, and if by magic the camera image is there. Wow, that's not by magic. That's a click of a button there, bro. I wish it was magic. As if
maybe AI can take over.
Yeah, maybe, right? As if there's not enough going on, you got to make sure you click all them right buttons all the time.
Yep.
Live.
Remember, hope you didn't forget your AC.
It's actually 65 degrees here. I'm really not worried about that right now.
Oh, okay.
It's actually pretty comfortable in here right now.
The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, welcome back to the show indeed. National Rifle Association presenting Armed American Radio to you today and every day. If you are not a member of the National Rifle Association, you are doing all gun owners a disservice. Please, please, please join the National Rifle Association. It doesn't matter to me if you give any other money other than the $35, the $85, the $125, or the $1,000 if you want to do a life. If you never want to donate again, that's fine with me. We just need your numbers on those rolls. Please join the NRA. The lawsuit we were talking about, Brown v. ATF, that is the National Rifle Association working in tandem with the Firearms Policy Coalition, the Second Amendment Foundation, and others, American Suppressor Association, to fix what's broken and help us restore our rights. Please join us. You can do it. It's real simple to do, and you are going to get the range bag if you do. It's not a you might win it. You're going to get a free range bag if you sign up for 1 year or 3 year. If you sign up for 5 year or life, you're going to get a set of really a pair of binoculars, the 10x42s. They're super high quality. You'll get the Velcro case with it. You'll also get the lens covers. And that's with a 5 year or a life membership. Please join us. We need your help here, ladies and gentlemen. We desperately need your help to continue to grow the NRA, doing wonderful work now. It's not the old organization. It's new. So help us look forward, please. We appreciate it. Welcome back. CZ Mike lit up for you here at the Patriot Mobile Command Center. It's all being brought to you by the National Rifle Association at the Carr Firearms Group Studios. Cam Edwards from Cam & Company and Bearing Arms. Let's continue this conversation. I want to point something out here because you can't make this stuff up. It gets even more bizarre because one of the officers involved, and let me just read this. The defendants tried to cover up the gun theft, according to the lawsuit, meaning the cops, Chicago cops, ladies and gentlemen. A tag identifying the Glock had been slipped onto another gun, and an envelope for that gun was later found in the trash. The lawsuit notes that the name of Officer Crystal Rivera was placed on those inventory records, even though, quote, she had nothing to do with the recovery of the guns in an attempt to make it more difficult to track the Glock 21 pistol's disappearance and hinder recovery efforts. Rivera would later be shot and killed on June 5th by her partner. Officer Carlos Baker was told to us by a member of the Gresham District Tactical Team in what the police department has said was a friendly fire accident, Cam. There's just more twists and turns here. Here's the bottom line. Yeah. Sounds to me like somebody took the gun in, cop wanted the gun, cop took the gun, put another tag on it, something wound up in the trash, cop either sold the gun or gave the gun to somebody, and 16-year-old kid uses it to shoot this woman and was also, as you mentioned, traced to a couple other shootings as well. This whole thing stinks of corruption, and I want to know, is anybody being jailed here yet? Anybody being charged?
Nobody's being charged yet. Again, you know, the criminal investigation into this apparently halted, right? So I think that there is going to be some pressure put on the Cook County State's Attorney to reopen a criminal investigation, right? But again, as you say, you know, yeah, hopefully, right? You've got the internal affairs investigation that has been reopened. But you know, the first time around, again, I mean, it's the sergeant who oversaw the quote unquote buyback. He got a 1-day suspension. That was it. That was his punishment for letting this gun walk, essentially. And you know, Mark, I mean, listen, I am not anti-police. I believe in law and order, but you know, corruption like this needs to be investigated. Yeah, it needs to be dealt with, and there needs to be punished. Absolutely, there needs to be punishment. There needs to be consequences for this.
There absolutely does. Yeah. And when you see corruption like that, that stinks and is indicative of other corruption in the department as well. And ladies and gentlemen, the gun wound up in the hands of somebody, a prohibited possessor, 16-year-old criminal who should have never had it. We don't know how that happened yet, but hopefully we'll find out. If we do, we'll report it to you because the story's bizarre all the way around. Now, let's go to Philadelphia, a city that Philly, you're listening. You know, I love your food in Philly. I really do. I spent some time in Philadelphia, and I do miss the food. But I'm glad I'm not there anymore. I'd prefer to live south. I took a transfer there for about 1.5 years, and I left it because I didn't want to be there anymore. Mainly weather, guys. The food was wonderful. But a judge tossed a lawsuit against Philly gun ordinance without explanation. Philadelphia's been notorious for this for years. writing their own law in violation of Pennsylvania's very clear and very strict preemption policies and laws. And this one, why was it tossed? Tell us what happened here, because Philly's up to their old games again, but this involves a bump stock, and there is a lot of going on here.
Yeah, well, we don't officially know why, because the judge didn't bother to tell us why, right? This was just an order saying the case is dismissed. But you can look at, so let's start with the preemption language. I'll try to make this quick, Mark, because I know we got a hard out at the end of the hour here. No county, municipality, or township may in any manner regulate the lawful ownership, possession, transfer, or transportation of firearms, ammunition, or ammunition components when carried or transported for purposes not prohibited by the laws of this Commonwealth. That's what the firearms preemption law says. So Philly enacts an ordinance last year that bans the manufacture and sale of any device that can increase a gun's rate of fire. Bump stocks, binary triggers, whatever. It's challenged in court. Judge throws out this lawsuit. And, you know, I can only assume it's because Philly made the argument that, listen, we're not regulating firearms. We're regulating a gun part. And there's nothing in the preemption law that says we can't regulate a gun part. It's the ownership, possession, transfer, transportation of firearms, not gun parts. And, you know, that may be true if you're looking at the letter of the law. I don't think it's true if you're looking at the spirit of the law. But it's important to note, too, what the ordinance does, right? It doesn't ban the possession of bump stocks. You can still possess them. You can still possess binary triggers. You can't manufacture them, and you can't sell them.
Right.
Under this ordinance.
Yeah.
So I think this is Philadelphia looking to put it, you know, they're looking to chip away at preemption. And they may be able to in this case. They may have found, you know, a law that they can put on the books. I don't know how enforceable it is. I don't know that it's going to do a whole lot. But they can claim victory, and then, you know, they've sort of given a map to other anti-gun localities in the state of, okay, go after gun parts, don't go after possession, but go after the manufacturer, go after the sale of these things, and that's how you can get away with, you know, with getting around the preemption law.
Yeah, well, Harrisburg and Pittsburgh are going to be watching this very carefully because they all seem to be playing along, you know, to the same tune. They're flipping the same cards over. But interestingly, because bump stocks aren't banned in Pennsylvania, so the local ordinance banning, as you said, their possession in Philly, which faced the challenge, is tossed into one sentence.
I think that would be right. And I think if this banned the possession of bump stocks, I think it'd be a different argument altogether.
Well, they're going to be able to claim
Philly's
victory.
being very, very careful.
I think they're going to be able. They're going to.
I think they already are right now.
Yeah, they are
the
claiming
case
victory.
is being appealed, so we'll see. You know, long term. But this is going to be tough. You know, and I mean, ideally, I wrote that the legislature should go back and include gun parts into the preemption law. But with the makeup of the state legislature, that's not really possible right now. There's no veto-proof majority. You got an anti-gun governor, and he would veto that bill if it got to his desk. So. It's tough right now, and I think Philly may have found a loophole that will allow them to put some ordinances on the books. Yeah.
It appears they found a loophole in Philly. I wish we had more time with you, Greg. Oh, we got 10 seconds to go. Hey, Cam, I got to say thank you for being here, man. We love you. Real quick, tell people where they can find you.
Just check out BuriedArms.com. You can find me there.
And Cam and Company. You can watch him. There's all kinds of links and all kinds of cool stuff there that you can click on to get there. Cam Edwards, Cam and Company, and BearingArms.com. Thanks, Cam, for being here. We love you. Thanks for taking time out of your day. Looking forward to seeing you at the Gun Rights Policy Conference coming up September 26th, 27th, and 28th. More about that for you, ladies and gentlemen, because you can go and shake Cam's paw, too. We'll be right back. AWR Hawkins. presented with
Hey,
much
it's Andy
of an
Hoosier,
option.
the voice of reason on KQAM, Wichita's Big Talker, and you're tuned into the Armed American Radio Network. Now let's get back to the man himself, Mark Walters.
Ah, the man himself. That would be me. Andy Hoosier, we love you. KQAM, Wichita's Big Talker, Wichita, Kansas. We love you guys up there. We love you guys up there. Great fans. Been carrying the show for a long time. Both shows, Armed American Radio and Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. Great affiliate in Wichita, Kansas. You guys have a good one with Andy Hoosier. Welcome back inside the Car Firearms Group Studios with me, Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today here on the Armed American Radio Network from the Car Firearms Group Studios. The CZ mic fired up for you at the Patriot Mobile Ranch, and it's all being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. On the horn with us now, AWR Hawkins from Breitbart News. AWR, how are you, my traveling fellow?
I'm doing good, buddy. Great to be with you.
So let's talk a little bit about Mark McCloskey because I love this story. It's taken way too long. But guys, you'll remember the McCloskeys, AR-15 in front of their house during the BLM riots, St. Louis, Missouri, the Show Me State. And they went through hell and back, the McCloskeys did. But they went to the police station on June 28th, I believe it was. No, that's when it was taken. On June 28th, 2020. But they got their guns back, and this is a beautiful thing. Why so long? What happened here?
Well, I don't know how he finally got it. You know, it took a lot of trial and error, a lot of trials and lawsuits, and but he's the only one that's gotten his back. She still hasn't gotten hers.
Oh, okay.
He expects his wife, Patricia, will receive hers this week. We'll get hers back. But you got to give it to this guy for the determination.
Oh, yes.
That he's just not going to let him run over him. And that's exactly what that DA there was trying to do, just trying to run right over him. And so here we go. It's a great victory. I love seeing it.
It took way, way, way too long. And I tweeted out a quote from him. Let me see if I can find this because it's important, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, we talk about the length of time it took for him to get this back. And his wife is ludicrous for this to happen. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. And let me see if I can find that one particular post. I'm not sure if I can or not. Basically, he says, oh, here it is. You have to let them know that you will never back down. You'll never give up. And I think that's a great quote from Mark McCloskey because isn't that what we do every day, right? And isn't that the motto we live by? Because if we back down, if we give up, they will put their boot on our neck and run roughshod over us, AWR. You know it. I know it. Listeners, you know it. So it's a beautiful thing, and I applaud him. We're going to reach out to Mark and see if we can get him on the show. That would be a lot of fun. But I'm glad you wrote this story, and I'm glad you got this out there because it matters, AWR, so thanks for that. People need to know this. Chargers linebacker Denzel Perryman arrested on felony weapons charges. Huh?
Yeah.
California,
well, you know, and it's like
gun-friendly state.
It's like I tweeted when I tweeted this story today, and you made this point too when we talked privately. But you know, Gavin Newsom tells us how pro-gun he is, and he's so pro-Second Amendment. But what I see in his state is gun control implemented by Democrats and black people being arrested. That's what I see. It's like looking at the old South, watching the Confederacy all over again. For those of you that are educated in a public school, you might not know the Confederacy was Democrat. All right. The South was Democrat. The North was Republican. If you want to understand the Civil War the best, you understand it was a clash of those two parties. And the Democrats were fighting tooth and nail to keep their slaves and to keep those slaves disarmed. And that's just a fact. Yep. And Gavin Newsom is doing his best to act like a Confederate right now.
Have you ever had more than 5 guns in your vehicle? Right, tongue in cheek. Of course we have. I have more than 5 in my vet right now because I was recently at the range with my son. So, folks,
I've got a Henry lever action, 2 shotguns, a Sig Sauer MCX and 300 blackout with a suppressor, a CZ Nocturne concealed carry pistol, and this Glock 43 and this Glock 43X on my hip. So that's probably an arsenal in a Democrat's mind. In my mind, it's just what I happen to be transporting right now.
Yeah, during the traffic stop, as AWR points out, deputies discovered I guess he was stopped for a vehicle code violation. During the traffic stop, deputies discovered 5 firearms in Mr. Perryman's vehicle, 2 of which were assault-style rifles. He was arrested and booked on weapons violation charges and was cooperative with deputies. TMZ, you point, noted that the felony charge against Perry is because of the alleged possession of assault weapons. Anywhere in a free state in America, you can carry whatever gun you want, but not California. And it's important to point out, as you just did, AWR, he's out there proclaiming on a podcast that he's as pro-gun as they get. This might shock a lot of people, but I respect this gift. He can't even get his own hands on his gift right now because the paperwork fiasco he has to go through. And from what I understand, we're talking about Gavin Newsom being gifted the SIG P365. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Apparently he left it behind because he knew it was going to be a nightmare for himself as the governor to even get it by following his own laws. But let's not forget, he supports the Second Amendment, AWR, but. So I don't know, what this guy's football career going to be over because of these ridiculous laws in California that are unconstitutional?
Well, I'll tell you what, the thing, I don't know about that. I can't even take a guess on that, but I can tell you this. These are felony charges.
Yes. In California, these are felonies, folks.
And see, this is what I mean. And see here, this is what people have to understand. There'll be a shooting, and someone will go, background checks don't sound like such a bad idea. Well, look at California police. They have had quote unquote universal background checks since the 1990s. They followed that up immediately. And I shouldn't say immediately. They followed it up in a number of years with firearm registration, which has to happen in order for universal background checks to work. They followed that up with a ration on the number of guns you can buy each month. First, it was a number of handguns. Then it was a number of long guns. Now it's all guns. You can only buy so many guns a month. Then they did the same thing with ammo. They narrowed how you could get it. You had to do a background check to get it. Fortunately, that's been struck down in court. But see, these are all insidious. And this is why you have to fight them, because in the 1990s, some idiot went, universal background checks don't sound so bad. I'm not scared of a background check. And that has led to all of this. And they've had an assault weapons ban for the same amount of time. So now you have a football player who happens to have 5 guns in his car. He's not committed a crime at all as far as using those guns illegally, and he faces felonies. They put this in, it becomes a big net, and they just drag it through the water, and they catch law-abiding citizens in this big net called gun control, and it ruins their lives. You have to fight it tooth and nail every time it comes up. In my opinion, every gun control, and I mean every one, I've thought it out, is unconstitutional. When the 4 words were written, shall not be infringed, they didn't put a question mark after them. It's a statement. Shall not be infringed.
Denzel, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you're spot on. I'm going to let that stand on its own. Spokesperson for Perryman told TMZ, who was running with this story, I didn't see TMZ's piece. I don't know how they couched it. It wouldn't be surprising to me that they came at it from the shock that he had assault weapons in him. That's the way they tend to report. But Perryman's spokesperson said, Denzel is a respected veteran in the NFL, a dedicated father, teammate, and professional. While we do not take this situation lightly, we remain confident that the matter will be resolved fairly and in accordance with the law. And, they might want to rethink that in accordance with the law, ladies and gentlemen, because we're talking about California law here. All right? We're going to, he's got his first hearing on the 5th coming up on Tuesday. Today's the 3rd, so we'll see what happens here. Hopefully, AWR, he's not in any trouble and these felonies go away because the man was doing nothing wrong, folks. Well, of course, unless you're in California. Gun, wrong. Gun, you bad. Gun, well, we respect your Second Amendment. Couldn't be further from the truth. Take heed with what AWR said at the beginning of the segment relative to who this is, the Democrat Party. It's the party of slavery, Jim Crow, and disarming black Americans. Armed American Radio will be back. We have one more segment with great AWR Hawkins from Breitbart News. Don't go away. All right, boys and girls, here's the range bag that you're going to get if you join the National Rifle Association. Right here. $35 for a year. Take home this free range bag, okay? It's real simple to do. 1 year or 3 year membership. It's either $35 or $85. I did the 5 years when I re-upped. If you want to re-up your membership, you're up for renewal, you can do so. You want to up it to a year, you're going to get the binoculars. You want to up it for 5 years, you can do that. You get the binoculars. At the end of the giveaway, when these are gone, and we have been allocated a few hundred more of these because they are, in fact, flying off the shelves, so take advantage of it. But when they are gone, we will do one of two things. We will either swap it for a new giveaway and keep it going, or we will end it and pick one winner out of all of you who use that AAR promo code, and one of you will get another range bag loaded with swag from a lot of Armed American Radio's other partners. So help us out here, okay? Join the National Rifle Association. Like I said before, I don't care if you give any more money. Just join. We need your numbers in here, folks. It's the power behind the NRA. We're already getting back up to the 900-pound gorilla in the room. We need to be the 1,000-pound gorilla in the room again, okay? So simple to do. Just join over at nra.org/AAR. It's that simple. And when you do that, you'll see the little picture of everything up there that we're talking about, okay? Be back in about 1 minute.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back indeed. If you are watching the show, you see me holding up my Attorneys on Retainer card. Okay, you can have one as well. And if you carry a gun for self-defense, ladies and gentlemen, I would highly recommend that you have one of these in your wallet, okay? Because that means that you're aware that something can happen to you, no matter where you are, in the blink of an eye. And if it does and there's an investigation, the first thing you're going to want is an attorney. For $35 a month, and you use the AAR promo code, attorneysonretainer.us, and you get an attorney on retainer, attorney-client privilege immediately for $35 a month. No more expense to you whatsoever. If you need defended in court, they're with you every step of the way because they're your lawyer. No exclusion if you're charged with a crime. They're your attorneys, and that's all they do is self-defense law, attorneysonretainer.us. You're going to want this card, and it has some great information on the back of it as well. And what we'll do at some point, we'll read that information on the back for you. But it's really, it's a no-brainer, folks. Take advantage of it. You can find them and just click on them at my website, armedamericanradio.com, and all of our great partners. You can find them all there at armedamericanradio.com or .org, including Barrel Buddy, Ammo Squared. They're all there for you. More about them coming up throughout the broadcast. AWR Hawkins-Breitbart News. Welcome back, brother. So real quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because I'm going to be talking with Arizona State Rep Quang Nguyen about this, but you wrote up a great piece about Quang. He's listening right now. I know he is. And we're going to have him on the show this week. The schedule was just too full to get him in here today on short notice. But it's titled Arizona State Rep, Give Up Your Guns and the Government Will Be in Your House. Ooh. Tell us.
Right. Well, I mean, he's dead right. He's talking about that the Second Amendment, and I'm paraphrasing, but it basically provides teeth for all the others. It keeps the others safe. And he particularly talks about how without firearms, the citizenry would be open to political oppression. They would be open to lacking the freedom to control their property and so on and so forth. And so I went to the Third Amendment. You know, the Third Amendment was written because the quartering acts were passed by the redcoats and those nasty Brits. And by nasty, I mean filthy. I don't have any love for America's enemies. And they passed those quartering acts so their soldiers could literally go to the farm of a colonial and just take it over. They could sleep in his house. They could put their animals in the barn. They could feed their animals with that farmer's food. And of course, what that turned into is a bunch of heathens in redcoats commandeering livestock and the other property of Americans. So the Third Amendment is there to say, no
more.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that anymore. And what the rep's saying there in Arizona is, look, if you don't have guns, these just words on this piece of paper, this Third Amendment. If you don't have guns, these words they're going to be laughed at, and the government is going to come right in whenever they want. And he's 100% right. Yeah, I tweeted today. I'm just going to say it. I tweeted today. Look, an AR-15 is not a weapon of war, but it's the closest thing we can get our hands on. And if we are dumb enough to give up our AR-15s, the government will run right over us. And if American people get all sloppy and lackadaisical and never forget that, then they'll deserve the end they get, because their government will run right over them. It keeps the government, the people are the ultimate check on government. It's not the three branches, all that. I mean, they are a check on each other. But the ultimate check on government is the people, and the people are a check because the people are able to defend themselves.
No quartering, ladies and gentlemen, the Third Amendment. There's also Fourth Amendment implications to this as well that you dig into, and I know Kwong did. He's a regular on the program, folks. We'll have him on this week. We've already talked with him today about it, and I'm looking forward to getting his opinion on this because he is dead on. Purple-haired, when I first saw you, right, because I love the way you talk about the purple hairs. Here you got a purple-haired Texas mom, Ashley Pardo, so we'll name her, who is facing charges for allegedly helping her son plan a mass shooting on Rhodes Middle School as a way of rewarding him for babysitting. Is this for real?
Yeah. Well, and if you read the story, as bad as that is, he's also facing charges for allegedly pointing a shotgun at an 11-month-old baby girl and texting a picture of it to the father, saying that the reason this girl's going to be a victim is either she wouldn't quit crying or something like that. So I will not say my opinion right here on what should happen to this woman, but I will say this: if found guilty, the bad news for her is she will be found guilty in Texas.
Yeah,
and they'll put this woman in a hole so deep. They'll be feeding her with a slingshot the rest of her life. And if she's found guilty for this, that's what she'll deserve. She did these things.
Yeah, guys, you need to see the photograph. AWR's accompanies the article with a photograph of her. She is all about purple hair, the face tattoos, the neck, the whole deal. And it's bad, ladies and gentlemen, and I think she's going to wind up in some very serious trouble here, as you just mentioned, because she allegedly, have to say that now, purchased ammunition, tactical gear, and loaded magazines for her 13-year-old son, who cops indicated, and AWR points out, drew chilling maps of his school marked suicide route, idolized white supremacist mass shooters, and planned to carry out a massacre. All of this apparently, allegedly, with mom's assistance. Yeah. What's that saying you have? If you're going to be dumb, don't what?
Don't be dumb in Texas. And this one here, holy cow, this one here is taking the cake on. This is taking the cake.
Yeah, this is one of the worst I've ever seen, if not the worst I've ever seen, because you've got a mother now with a 13-year-old. This is bad all the way around, but you'll want to read it. You can see it over. Just look up AWR Hawkins-Breitbart News and read the piece. And real quick, with the minute or so that we have left, a terrible story coming out of Montana where you have an Iraq war vet who is suspected of murdering 4 people in a bar at the Owl Bar in Anaconda, Montana. Montana, you're tuned in on a number of stations in the major cities in Montana there, and really bad situation here. Do you have any updates on this at all?
Eat that, because I've been traveling today. I know as of yesterday he still hadn't been apprehended. Yeah. They had found his truck, and they were looking up in mountains. And if he's a 4 or 5 year Army vet, he is at least one time deployed Iraq vet. I would say in there somehow he probably learned some survival skills. So it wouldn't shock me if he hasn't been found. It wouldn't shock me that he could hold out a few days. And, I think my gut is this guy will probably kill himself. But that's just my gut. That doesn't mean I'm right, But, again, the lesson, folks, wherever you are, evil can strike, so be ready. And I've told people, and I'm going to say it now, if I'm in a bar and you see a sign on that door that says no guns allowed, if I'm in that bar and you come at me with a knife, I'll shoot you dead. That's how it works. You have to be prepared. That sign will not keep me from being able to preserve my life.
AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News, perfect way to end it. The title of this piece, ladies and gentlemen, at Breitbart is Manhunt Continues for Iraq War Vet Suspected of Killing 4 in Montana Bar. Okay, Montana, we're thinking about you. Cops have warned you. Don't apprehend him. Don't try. Armed and dangerous. I think Montanans can take care of themselves. No question about that. AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News, thank you very much, brother, for being here. We appreciate your time every single week and all of the work and effort you put in. Ladies and gentlemen, AWR will be speaking at the Gun Rights Policy Conference September 26th, 27th, and 28th in Salt Lake City. It is free to attend. All you've got to do is get yourself there. Room rates are cheap. saf.org/GRPC. Back right after this.
This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. Because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association. From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast. Hour 2 begins right now. If you're just joining us, welcome in. If you're rejoining us, welcome back. And we'd like to welcome CZ. Yeah, CZ to the fold. Great company, and you're going to be hearing a lot about CZ coming up. National Rifle Association presenting every bit of this every single day, 6 days a week on the Monster Cast and the Daily Defense. And, of course, this is the Car Firearms Group studios here at the Patriot Mobile Ranch. Greg in Dallas, Texas. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. Here, let me give this for CZ.
Ta-da! There you go. Thank you very much. Welcome to CZ. We appreciate it much, much, much. You know, guys, we're live on Facebook for you. If you want to watch over there, feel free to do that. Facebook.com/ArmedAmericanRadio. You got that option. Lots of you do. And, Greg, I'll let you tell people where else they can go and watch the show, participate in what is always an active and fun chat, and then we'll get cracking. We've got the professor, Paul Markel, student of the gun, for the hour.
Sure, you can also watch the show over on YouTube and Rumble. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. Over on X, we're at AAR Mark. You can also head on over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, and then select your Watch Live, Listen Live option. To join the live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, that'll do it. Paul Markel, student of the gun, the professor. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
So let's make the announcement, though. Let's make this announcement real quick, that you are going to be doing a regular segment on this show every single week in the second hour, at least one segment. So welcome in. Yeah, another
Yeah, well, all right, there you go.
All right, welcome, Paul Markel.
It's official.
It is official. We just made it official. There's the ta-da from the network. So welcome in, brother. Proud to have you here. Fan favorite for a reason. So, Paul, I Googled gun control right before you came on. Literally 60 seconds before you came on. Because I like to do that live on the air and find out what's out there, right? It's kind of a gutsy move as a radio host to go into an hour and say, I'm just going to do this live on the fly. Let's Google gun control and see what pops up. And this one from Representative Kennedy in Louisiana. I can't help myself here. Senate Republican on New York City shooting. We don't need more gun control. We need more idiot control. And John Kennedy, Republican out of Louisiana, suggested that gun control laws would not help make the public safer and that the city should instead consider bringing back stop and frisk. Now, okay, I agree with that. That won't happen under a Democrat administration. It's just not going to.
No.
But this guy walked all the way across a plaza with a long gun at his side. I don't know what stop and frisk would have done here. Okay.
Well, how many people saw that guy and how many people pulled out their phones? I mean, we have still footage of him doing it. We live in a world now where the blue state slaves have no understanding about their own self-preservation. They literally have been stripped of the thought process that they're responsible for their own safety. It's the state. It's the government. We pay taxes, and it's their job to keep us safe. Yeah, but it's not. Matter of fact, what we know based on innumerable court cases is the police could be across the street while you're being stabbed to death.
Yeah.
And they're not constitutionally required to do anything. You're like, oh, come on, Paul. I don't want to hear you police bashing.
No,
I'm just telling you the truth.
That's Supreme Court has ruled that many times.
You cannot, as a crime victim, sue the state for failing to protect you. So at the end of the day, where does that put us? That puts us in a position where you have to be able to protect yourself. Now, what I want to know, Mark, is where are the brave and bold and courageous 2A attorneys that are going to bring that up and say, look, every single gun control bill is an infringement and it's a violation. It goes contrary to the Supreme Court. And they're like, oh, that's not true. Like, the heck it's not.
Well,
and
let me
force
go back
them
to one of your
to address that.
Let me go back to one of your first questions. How many people saw him do this? I don't know, and we'll likely never know. Clearly, somebody in New York City had to see this. Now,
More than one.
sure, let's kind of break that down for a moment. And ladies and gentlemen, radio is theater of their mind. So hold hands with us here, walk with us as we go through this. And I want you to try to envision this in your own mind, if you would be so kind to do so, as long as you're not driving, please. If you are and you want to play along with us, pull over. But so let's look at this. No matter where you live, I want you to think about this. If you saw an individual walking to an office building, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, close of a workday, weekday, excuse me, carrying an AR-15 style rifle, calmly and coolly on his side, fairly well dressed in the middle of the day, what would go through your mind? Now, let's take it, Paul, let's start with this, that the citizen that we're talking about in this particular case has a permit or doesn't need a permit in a constitutional carry state and is armed. What next? What would you do, ladies and gentlemen? Ask yourself that question. I'm not giving you the answer, but I want to explore it. Paul, what would you suggest?
First thing I'd do is put my hand on my gun and get it out. That's step number one. And then step number two, I'd be like, hey, bro, what's up? And if he pointed a gun at me, then I would shoot him. But, the fact that somebody's doing is like completely innocent. Like, oh, come on, Paul, I thought you were pro 2A. Anyone should be able to walk around. It's like, just calm down, all right? There's a reason that we carry handguns, because if you carry rifles into the grocery store, people get upset. They get kind of freaked out, and rightfully so, because it doesn't make any sense. But if let's just say that this guy was able to grab his gun and walk from wherever his car was or whatever across the plaza into the front door.
Which he did.
But now we know that multiple people inside of the building were aware of his presence and saw him. But in New York City, where the peasants have been disarmed by their slave masters, their only option, and they're programmed, because what do we know about New York?
You just hit where I wanted to go.
Yeah. They've been brainwashed and mentally programmed to run and hide.
Yep.
Don't you dare stand up for yourself.
Okay, stop right there.
Don't you dare.
Stop right there. Because the word that when you hit the word, the word is programmed, ladies and gentlemen, when Paul said that. This is what happens in gun control states, particularly in cities of gun control states like New York City, where the state's gun laws are on steroids in the cities, in the urban areas, particularly New York City. Most of the people in New York City have been programmed to believe certain things that might not be true, okay, when it comes to guns. Now, first of all, I could hear the absolutists out there saying, we don't carry rifles. And in the state of Georgia, you can carry a rifle in a grocery store if you want to, Paul. Now, is it a smart thing to do? I wouldn't advise you do it, but you can. Out there right now is an absolutist yelling at the two of us right now. That's their fault, not mine. If I want to carry my rifle in, I get all that, okay? I'm just telling you my personal... congratulations. I'm just telling you it's my personal opinion. That's not a smart thing to do, because people do react certain ways on that. Now, so I think when you take a city like New York, they must be thinking, well, there's got to be somebody out there that thought, well, maybe he's a cop. Maybe he's an undercover cop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? That they're thinking that. Why?
Sure.
Because they're programmed that no one can have an AR-15 style rifle unless it's a cop. And they're programmed to believe that people follow the gun laws in New York City. So this can't be what I'm thinking I'm seeing. They're not believing their eyes, which stops them from making a call to 911 at the very least, Paul, let alone reacting as you said you would, doesn't it?
But we've got to, I talked to, I can't remember if it was you we talked about this, but we had the conversation about gun control. And gun control is all about convincing the citizen that they don't have the authority to defend themselves, that they have to first ask for permission.
In New York, they don't have the authority to defend themselves. Greg, how much time do I have?
Because they're slaves.
All right, we've got 30
seconds. And they've allowed
Paul.
themselves to become slaves.
We'll
pick up when we come back.
Yeah, let's pick this part of the conversation up when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, because many of you have been programmed. I definitely say that. Armed American Radio listeners are much smarter than that. Many of your neighbors, colleagues, maybe many of your family members have been programmed to be slaves and act certain ways because they just can't believe what it is happening. Is there real evil? Is there real evil? Yes, of course there's real evil. We've witnessed it on display, not just there, but many times across the country. It's going on in Chicago right now as we speak, by the way. Maybe we'll give you a rundown on those weekend numbers just because it's fun to do. Armed American Radio's Monstercast continues. We have 3 more segments to go with the great Paul Markel, student of the gun, the professor himself. And he will be here from now on for at least one segment in this hour of the program every single week.
The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom today and every day, 6 days a week. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast for the big weekend show, being heard on hundreds of radio stations around the nation. That's plural. We love that. Thanks to all of our great affiliates that make it possible and all of our great partners. And you, the listeners, that have helped us get on the Talkers Heavy 100 list of most important talk radio shows in the nation. That's a beautiful thing. You are in the Car Firearms Group studios with me, Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today on the CZ microphone. Welcome to CZ here at the Patriot Mobile Ranch. And all of it being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. You just heard that rejoinder. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join us and help us fight all of these unconstitutional laws that we're talking about with all of our great guests today. It's real simple to do. You can visit armedamericanradio.com and click on NRA right there on the button, or you can visit nra.org/AAR. And if you join for 1 to 3 years, you will get a free range bag. Very cool. When they're gone, they're gone. Can't tell you when that's going to be, but they are flying off the shelves. I know that because I've seen the reports, but we were allocated a couple hundred more. So take advantage of that. Always get something for free when we give you that great opportunity. And if you sign up for a 5-year or life membership, you're going to wind up with the binoculars as long as they're in stock. And when we're all done with that, one of you who did just that is going to win another range bag filled with all kinds of swag. And it's a different bag than this one. So you're going to get some really, really cool stuff with some pretty good value in there. You can find the National Rifle Association at armedamericanradio.com and all of our great partners, including Bud's Gun Shop, our exclusive online retailer, budsgunshop.com. Check them out online. Buy a gun. Keep it for 30 days. If you don't like it, give it back. No questions asked. Pick something else up or not. It's entirely up to you. Buds has everything you need. Everything. They serve millions. Budsgunshop.com. Paul Markel, student of the gun. Welcome back, my brother. So, I got thinking about our conversation during the break, Paul. And it's really interesting to me because that programming and the danger that puts people in, we don't really think about it in those terms. But people, when they're programmed to believe that that gun laws work, or I'm safe. We have a lot of gun control in this city. It's illegal to do things like this. That gives people a false sense of security to a point that in their mind, people tend to forget that evil, in fact, exists. And it's a lot easier for evil to exist in a place where people have been programmed, is it not, than places where they will react differently like they would here versus a place like New York City. Let's go into that.
Well, I kind of, one part of me would love to be able to be a man on the street, do the man on the street interviews and ask people questions, because I have to wonder, like, with all of the violence that's been going on, I mean, they had to send the disarmed National Guard, which is just genius. Freaking Hawkins sent the disarmed National Guard onto the subways. Why? Because they were safe? No, because they were out of control, and she doesn't have enough cops to keep a lid on it, right? So on one hand, if you ask the average New Yorker, you're like, well, do you know that it's illegal to do this? And they're like, well, I guess, yeah, it is. And you're like, does that keep you safe? Do you feel safer? Well, I wonder what kind of answers you would get.
I think in a place, and I'm just going to make a guess here. I'll take a stab at this. I think in a place like New York, you would probably get the response that it makes people feel safer. If you followed that up with, you realize that individual over there, that man or woman in uniform, is disarmed, or that the gun is for show. I'm not sure, but I think people in New York
ain't no bullets in it.
Yeah, I would believe they would say that yes, they might make them feel a little safer because they're not thinking about why they're there. Why is that person there? All right, why is the National Guard there? They're not thinking of it in terms like you just explained. Now, many New Yorkers know there's not enough cops, okay? But here's the problem with New York. They're going to vote a commie in anyway, bro. It's like it just doesn't matter. We talk about it, just doesn't sink in.
And at some point in time, we've I don't know when, I really don't, but at some point in time, we need to reinstitute this. Actions have consequences, and that of course, when we're talking about the other side, when we're talking about liberal Democrat communists, actions don't have consequences. That is their whole party platform. It doesn't matter which topic you pick out. It all comes down to it's not your fault. You're not responsible for your own behavior. Someone else is responsible for your own behavior, whether it's guns, whether it's killing babies, whether it's you can't show up to work on time, and now you don't have a job. Well, that's not your fault. It's your employer's fault. And we'll steal money from your neighbors, and we'll give it to you because you don't want to work, or you have no desire to work, or you have no desire to show up. It's not your fault. It's systemic racism. And it's funny, and the double standard is just off the charts. You talk to a New York Democrat, and out of one side of their mouth, when something like this happens, they're like, "Oh, we appreciate the brave men and women in uniform," and right? But you wait a week, tick-tock, look at your watch, and they'll be back to talking about systemic racism. Every police department is built upon systemic racism, and all cops are bastards. Like, I thought last week you were talking about, well, it depends. The double standard is off the charts with them. And it all leads back to liberalism being a mental disorder.
Yeah, I think that's what
it all leads back.
That's what I liked about John Kennedy's comment. We need more idiot control. Now, I don't know how how do you implement idiot control? This is an age-old question. Okay, it's a mental health issue. I mean, there's a lot of answers, but let's be real here. You're never going to stop evil ever. Evil is there.
I can tell you.
You can curtail it somehow, not by a law. And let me prove that to you, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening in New York City right now, WRCN. We love you guys. Name me the one law that would have stopped this man from walking across that plaza with his long gun to kill people. Name me that one law. Hochul
Well, they should have made murder illegal.
Illegaler.
Yeah, if murder was illegal in New York, that wouldn't have happened.
Well, wait. Murder is illegal. So it shouldn't have happened.
You mean he was willing to commit murder?
Yeah,
but,
you see, the disconnect, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear a Democrat politician talk about wanting more gun control, it's because they don't have any solutions to their policy failures in the city that they control. Chicago is a prime example of that. We were talking about the corruption with the gun buyback with Cam Edwards, but let's just take a quick look at some of the violence. And I've not yet looked at this. I'm doing this right now in real time with you, ladies and gentlemen. What are the numbers year to date, Paul? Here we go. Atrocious. I'll take this to the break. We'll come back. We'll break it down. August to date, we're 3 days in. 23 people shot and wounded in Chicago already, 2 dead. Already. Just this weekend, as of 9 a.m. today, the 3rd of August, ladies and gentlemen, 2025, 21 people wounded, 2 killed. Just this weekend, that number is going to go up at about 11 to 12 o'clock Eastern time. It will be far higher. It'll probably be closer to 30. It'll be 4 or 5 killed. Some of the wounded will die. All a glaring example of Democrat policy failures. And what do they want? More of the same policies that have been failing their constituents for decades. In Chicago's place, it's 100 years. Ladies and gentlemen, they've been controlling that city. Yeah, we'll be back. Paul Markel, student of the gun, the professor himself. You can check him out at sotgu.com. We'll be right back. Seemed like a long break.
Yes.
Didn't it? It wasn't just me?
Yeah, it was a long break. Paul probably forgot what he's talking about.
Wanting to let you know that the crew of the Desperado Sport Fish in Virginia Beach, Virginia, supports armed radio and the Second Amendment.
Don't ask me.
With them. Now back to Mark Walters.
Yeah, welcome back, Mike Gallagher. I love you, Mike. I got to get him back on the show. Got to get him on the show. Got to get on his show again, too. He is so much fun. Mike Gallagher. You can listen to Mike Gallagher 9 a.m. to noon Eastern every single day, Salem Radio Network, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. all across the country. Mike's the real deal. I love him to death. And he's right about the Desperado Sport Crew. Those guys love their Armed American Radio, and they love their fishing. They're out doing their bill fishing right now. They do the tournaments all summer. It's a lot of fun to see those guys take some prizes. Anyway, welcome back, guys. National Rifle Association presenting all of it. Don't forget attorneys on retainer. I was telling you in the previous hour, I'm going to do it again. I'm holding up the card right here. This is my attorneys on retainer card. I have legal representation. It's got some pointers on the back here that you won't find on other cards because, well, attorneys on retainer is a law firm that does nothing but self-defense law, and it's $35 a month. For me, it's $25, but it's $100 because I have 4 family members at $25 a pop. We are all covered. We all have legal representation, attorney-client privilege. If you carry a firearm, as we do at my house, you should have this. Real simple. attorneysonretainer.us/AAR, $50 off, $35 a month individual, $25 per person for family. Just do it. It's a no-brainer. You should be doing it. You can check out all of our great partners at armedamericanradio.com. We'll take this opportunity to welcome CZ. Again, here we are in front of the CZ microphone. Paul Markel, student of the gun, welcome back in, brother.
Yes, sir. Where do we leave off?
Oh, man. No, hold on a second. Greg, I need you to make your mic live. Come back in here, Greg.
All right.
Yeah, as we were coming back, he says, let's see if Paul remembers where we left off. And I made the statement, I hope I said, we're going to find out in a second. I hope.
Chicago.
I don't have a clue. And Greg says, well, we're about to see. And you say, where do we leave off? So you scared me. Yeah, we were talking about Chicago. Can he hear us, Greg? No. See, Paul, that's why you're good. All right, so, yeah, we were talking about Chicago numbers. But in the bigger scheme of things, we're talking about policy failure. Okay, like we see in every Democrat-controlled, gun-controlled city, Paul. How do we like tie all this together? How does this work?
Oh, okay.
How do we tie it in with idiot control?
Well, idiot control is really easy. It's not hard. It's called holding people responsible for their behavior. And we have an entire political party whose platform is built upon not holding people responsible for their behavior. Look at Cincinnati. We haven't even touched on that freaking nuclear bomb yet.
We will.
But we have people in Cincinnati, elected officials, blaming the victims of an attack for, quote, asking for it or something insane.
The council member said that.
We have an entire I don't even want to start talking about the chief of police up there, but we have an entire party that is built upon it's not your fault. It's somebody else's fault. You can do whatever you want. We'll blame someone else. And what do you get with that? That is the worst. I'm not going to say that the people with R's behind their names are saints, but holy crap, at least they're not, going out in public, standing in front of a podium saying the victims of the beating deserved it. The victims of the attacks deserved it.
Well, it's being held to account. The politicians need to be held to account as well. There are some.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a party that is holding up AOC and Bernie Sanders as the future of their party, and they're on the wrong side of every 90-10, 80-20 issue in this country. And there's a terrible story out right now that ties kind of to this. When you talk about not holding people accountable, of another illegal alien scumbag criminal who just murdered 2 people, drunk driving, a mother and her daughter. Mother came to the country legally, went through the entire process to be here legally. Her daughter was born in the United States to a legal permanent resident. They're both dead now, and come to find out this scumbag who killed them had already had DUI priors and has been released continuously because of sanctuary city laws. Now, it is in my estimation that the politicians and the people who let these people out should be in jail for violating the law, every single one of them. And they should have, as far as I'm concerned, felony murder charges placed on them because of what happened to this family who was doing nothing but driving down the road, Paul. But again, it goes back to accountability. If this guy had been held accountable for his crimes previously, these two beautiful people would be alive today.
You know, we see this, like, how many times have we had a mass killer, and then you find out, oh, well, you know, had previous, well, if they're a deep state plant, they usually have nothing. And quite frankly, it's interesting that it's been over a year and a half since that wackadoo in Pennsylvania tried to assess, and we still know nothing.
Well, don't even take me to Vegas. We don't know anything about Vegas. They told us at a press conference. That's it. We're not talking about it anymore. They never did. It was over.
Case closed. It's over. It was a lone gunman who just for no reason decided to start killing people for no reason.
And we're not going to tell you about what we find out. Largest mass shooting in American history, and we're not going to tell you anything about it. This sows the seeds of conspiracy theories, ladies and gentlemen, and quite frankly, it should.
Holy crap! But it comes down to not holding people accountable. Politicians, judges, you know, when these people are look at New York City. New York City is a zero bail city, man. You can literally. We had a case that we had fun with on the radio, where a guy robbed a bank every day for like 4 days. He robbed a bank, got caught, signed himself out, walked out of the police station, robbed another bank again. And at some point in time, you have to say, here's the thing. You're like, well, that's kind of cold-hearted. People in New York, you've got to accept responsibility for what you've done. But the thing is, they won't.
Now, they'll place blame. It's everybody else's fault. Look, I know where John Kennedy was going with this. I'm probably off on this, but if not, if he's listening, this is where he should be going. The idiot control he's talking about is a Democrat politician, ladies and gentlemen. We need idiot control. That's what he should be talking about. That's what I would be talking about, because the idiots here, okay, criminals are idiots. Let's be real. But the idiots here are the people that let them out, the people that feel bad for them, the people that make them out to be victims, instead of locking them up forever as they should be. It's that simple. Now, this guy coming out of Vegas, he had no criminal priors. He had a lawful concealed carry permit in Las Vegas. He bought his guns legally, from what I understand. They're saying he had mental health issues. We don't know anything more than that. Don't know really what that means.
Yeah, they all do.
But they're, now what are the Democrats doing right now? They're blaming Nevada.
They're engaging in terrorism. They're engaging in terrorism. What do you mean, Paul? What is the definition of terrorism, Mark? The use of or threat of violence, particularly against civilians, in order to further a political aim.
Yeah, and I have a...
that is the definition of terrorism. Yeah, when you use violence against civilians to further your political aims, that is terrorism. That's the definition. Go back. I mean, get a dictionary from 1978 and read it. Don't go to the internet. You can't trust it.
A real dictionary? Do they exist anymore? I guess they probably do, right? Hold on for a second. Governor Lombardo out of Nevada, this came up on gun control that I was looking for. I'll take this to the break. We'll come back and continue the conversation with Paul. We have him for one more segment. But 13 KTNV in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, you're tuned in. Governor Lombardo, Nevada gun laws not to blame for New York City shooting. Focus on mental health treatment, not weapons, governor says. Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo on Thursday pushed back on the idea that Nevada gun laws were to blame for the mass shooting in New York City this week, saying mental health services should be the focus in the wake of the tragedy. The reason that the governor is responding is because Kathy Hochul, a Democrat, is placing blame on Nevada. Not New York, but Nevada. Somehow, it's Nevada's fault. It's not, ladies and gentlemen. Evil chose to act, and it did Unfortunately for Hockle, it picked New York City. We'll be back. One more segment with Paul. Don't go away.
If you own a firearm, you know that a self-defense incident can happen anytime. That's why you need Attorneys on Retainer. They're the only self-defense program backed by real attorneys who specialize in self-defense cases. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
That would be a wise move, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned in the previous segment. Get your card like I have. But just like a credit card feels just like a credit card, unless you got one of those cool metal ones, right? Attorneysonretainer.us. I'll be meeting with them in Knoxville coming up in just a few days later this week, next weekend actually, on Saturday. So if you're going to be in Knoxville, make sure to stop by and say hi. You can catch me at the Patriot Mobile booth. Catch me at Attorneys on Retainer. Catch me over at 2A Bourbon. Might spend a little bit of time over there. And a lot of great places. So make sure to look me up. Come over and shake my paw. I'd love to meet with you and hang out with you for a little bit. We'll be over at the Car Arms booth. I believe Justin Moon will be there. You'll hear him in the next hour. You hear him every week. Come say hello to us. But do yourself a solid and get an attorney on retainer for $35 a month, okay? Because believe me, the last thing you want is a free attorney because you had to slap yourself in the face and say, man, why didn't I listen to him? Why didn't I have an attorney? And now it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands, or you're going with a court-appointed attorney, and you don't want to do that. It isn't necessary when you've got one of the only law firm in the country that's all they specialize in is keeping you out of jail and making sure that they've got your back. An entire team of attorneys, attorneysonretainer.us. You can check out all of our great partners, including Emerson Knives, emersonKnives.com. Use the promo code AAR. Don't forget MyPillow. I picked up a bunch of stuff that just delivered yesterday. My daughter's moving out, and we got all kinds of cool stuff from MyPillow delivered. We love shopping over there. You can do the same thing. MyPillow.com, promo code AAR. Take advantage of it. It's MyPillow.com/AAR, and all the discounts you hear Mike talk about and all the spots you see are here. You can do it and say, hey, thank you. That promo code gets you everything you see for all the great products over there. You can do the same thing, okay? Support the businesses that support your right to bear arms on this program every single day, 6 days a week. We could not do this. We would not be here 17 years were it not for all of them and all of our great affiliates. Welcome back. Paul Markel, student of the gun. So, idiot, control, evil. I left with this because I think it's important. I kind of want to go down this road because you specialize in this for a living. But when evil chooses to act, there's not a damn thing you can do about it except be as prepared as possible, Paul.
Yeah,
that means not using your phone, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and trying to film stuff.
Pulling on your phone.
Unless you're calling 911 because that's all you got. That's acceptable. Paul, go ahead.
No, we've been dealing with it all week in the aftermath of the Traverse City, Michigan attack. Mm-hmm. And you could ask Kathy Hochul what she thought about that, whether more gun control would have prevented that from happening. Oh, we're not going to talk about that.
I wonder why.
The only gun present was a gun in the hand of a good guy. But no, you cannot. And see, that's what people, these program slaves, don't for 1 minute think that Kathy Hochul is staying up at night crying for the victims in New York City. These people are pure evil, and they use these incidents. I'm going to go ahead and go on record here, and you can, if you want to censor me, go ahead. They love it. They dance in the blood of the innocent. Because every time this happens, they literally knock over babies and children to get to a microphone to call for more restrictions. Not restrictions that are going to stop a criminal. They can never explain to you. They will never be able to explain to you how their policy stops the behavior of a criminal.
Well, let's take this. Let's go to Michigan. Let's go to Michigan for a second. With the limited time we have, I want to go here. I saw Whitmer making some statements. I have yet to hear her acknowledge the individual with a gun. Now, I could be wrong about that. Maybe I didn't read it, maybe I didn't hear it, maybe I didn't see it. But she has tried desperately to institute as much gun control as she can force on Michiganders before her terms are done. And now you have an in-your-face incident that destroys every single narrative that she has put forth and the Democrat Party relative to gun control. And the media, folks, which is why the media doesn't talk about it. Right? But I don't know if you've heard anything from her. I don't know if you've heard from her at all. I have not. I could, as I said, maybe I'm wrong. Somebody out there says, she said something today. I didn't hear that, and I didn't see it. But it's not shocking to me that they don't.
If she was lying. Here's the thing. If the only reason she would was because they did a poll that showed that, she was in disfavor because of it, they're all liars. Come on, folks. It's like when they get caught and they apologize for something. They're not apologizing for what they did. They're apologizing for, they're angry because they got caught.
Yeah, sure.
They're sorry that they got caught is what they are. They're not sorry for what they did. They're sorry that they got caught. But that's the thing. They can never, ever, ever. And of course, we have such a sycophantic scummy media in our world that they're never forced to answer hard questions. Like, explain how a person who's willing to commit murder is going to be dissuaded by a magazine capacity or ban or a assault weapons ban or a this or that. Explain that to me. Go.
They can't, and they never will be.
They can't.
And they're going to take whatever they have at their disposal and use it. If the individual, for whatever reason, can't get a 30-round magazine, which he can if he wants one, he'll just take 3 10-round magazines, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to matter to these people.
Or run people over with trucks.
You're sure. Or not.
Run people with trucks.
I mean, look
at all the gun control they have in Europe, and they got Johnny Jihad plowing into crowds with cars. Okay? Like, folks, it's all about control, and it's about mind control, and it's about programming, and it's about convincing you that you don't have the authority to save your own life, and that you first have to run and beg. You have to bow and scrape at the feet of government.
Yeah, Paul, I don't want to be that person. And the photographs of these people putting 3 sofas on top of one another. That was not an easy task to move all that furniture, ladies and gentlemen. I just moved my daughter, and it was nowhere near that amount of furniture. It's a pain in the butt. The fact of the matter is, once they're done, they are 100% helpless and defenseless. Now, you have to ask yourself this question. Am I willing to be that person, or would I rather face 12 and be alive? That's what the Democrat policies require you to ask of yourselves. Paul, I've said this for many, many years. The day is coming in this country when good, decent, hardworking Americans are going to be forced to have to make decisions they never thought they would have to make. And those of you that live in blue states are forced to make those decisions all the time. Paul, AAR Hawkins said this. I'll take this to give you the final word. We've only going to have about 20 seconds. He said, if you see me in a bar with a sign that says no guns allowed and somebody starts shooting, I'm going to pull my gun out and end it. That's the decision that you're going to have to be forced to make at some point, ladies and gentlemen. Paul, 15 seconds. Take it away to the music.
Yeah, don't live in blue cities. Don't live in blue states. And if you do, you get what you pay for.
Pretty much that simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's really hard to feel sorry for folks in New York that put up with this nonsense. You know, wait and see what happens in the mayoral election in New York, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to find out for yourself. I'm still trying to keep out hope that they're not going to elect a commie, but it doesn't look good. Mamdani, the commie, is likely going to be the mayor in New York City unless something weird, radical changes, because he's got the media and now the Democrat Party behind him. The true colors are coming out. Paul Markel, student of the gun, SOTGU.com, ladies and gentlemen, SOTGU.com. You can begin training with Paul right now by visiting that website. Do it after the show. But nonetheless, do it. SOTGU.com. Thank you, Paul. Looking forward to having your wit and wisdom here every week for at least one segment beginning today. We're going to be back with the roundtable, ladies and gentlemen. Brad Premo, Justin Moon, Ryan Petty. Don't go away. 6 minutes after the hour. See you on the flip side.
Prescription for Freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, guys, be back on the flip side of this break, 6 minutes after the hour. Roundtable's always fun. Who knows where we're going, right? But Brad Premo rejoins us, been off for a couple weeks. Justin Moon from Car Arms and Parkland father Ryan Petty will be here. So stick around. We'll be right back after the break. Go get you some popcorn or something and an adult beverage.
Got them all here.
This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association. From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast on a Sunday. Hour 3 begins right now. If you're just joining us, welcome to the program. If you are rejoining us, welcome back. You're on the Armed American Radio Network. I am Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day. And we are in front of hundreds of radio stations here. And I love this, on the CZ microphone. We welcome CZ to the program today, officially. Great stuff. We love them. And you heard AWR in the first hour, if you were listening, talking about his P9 Nocturne. And if you're paying attention to the spots, you hear a spot running for the P9. There'll be some changes to that spot made during the week, but great firearm. Make sure to check everything out at cz-usa.com. We appreciate them being here. And it's all being brought to you here at the Patriot Mobile Command Center in the Car Firearms Group studios by the National Rifle Association. Please help us get those numbers up at NRA. I've made this point. I'm going to continue to drive this home every single day. Now, we got a real cool giveaway going on for you right now. If you join or rejoin the NRA for 1 year or 3 year, we're going to give you a range bag. Nothing else. Not something you have to win. Your name don't go in a hopper. Nobody's going to reach in and pull anything out. We're going to send it to you. And we were just allocated a couple more because they're flying off the shelves. We were able to dig some more up. So make sure to do that and take advantage of that. That's for a 1 to 3 year membership. 5 year or life membership gets you the 10x42 super high quality binoculars with the case and the lens covers. So pick your poison. And I don't care. I really, truly don't. I mean, I'd like to see you donate more for the cause, but I get it. It's tight. Everybody's tight. Believe me, we're no different than you. Trust me on that one. All right? I get it. We pay the same bills you do, probably more of them. And here's the deal. All you have to do is join. That's it. Just join. We need you to help us build the numbers. You should be a member of the National Rifle Association, the largest and oldest civil rights organization in this country's history. Don't let the left tell you anything other than that. That is a fact. And facts are stubborn things, and the left hates facts because it kind of flies in the face of what they do. NRA.org/AAR. And join us, won't you please? And take advantage of the free stuff and help us win these battles across the country, because we're going to talk a little bit about it. There's a new lawsuit. The NRA is working in hand with Firearms Policy Coalition, ASA, and the Second Amendment Foundation, Brown v. ATF, to rid this country of the unconstitutional National Firearms Act. And I have a real sneaky feeling that we're going to be very successful in this lawsuit, ladies and gentlemen, but we need your help to do it, okay? Well, let's see. Brad Premo's been on vacation. We got a little concerned because he was late calling in. We thought maybe he's still on vacation. Brad Premo, welcome in, brother. How you doing? Welcome back, bro.
Hey, thanks for having me back. I was having a little technical difficulties with some of my stuff, but I got it worked out, and here I am.
Good for you. So did you have a good time over 2 weeks? I hope you got some rest.
We had a great time. Spent quite a bit of time up in northern Michigan, all the small towns up there. It was great, nice, relaxing, very quiet.
So did you hit Mackinac by any chance?
No, didn't do Mackinac. Just kind of spent some time, did some kayaking, scouting out some fishing spots for a future trip. Swam in Lake Michigan, that kind of stuff.
Was that you in the Traverse City Walmart parking lot, Brad? Was that you?
No, that happened not too long after we left town. I mean, we stayed in Traverse City for a few days, and I want to say that I can't remember exactly what day that happened, but it was within a day or two of us leaving, maybe the same day we left town.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that, get your point of view on that one. Justin Moon, CEO of Car Arms. We're in the Car Firearms Group studios. Justin, how the heck are you?
Doing good, Mark. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Hey, brother, always a pleasure. Now, am I going to see you over the weekend in Knoxville, Tennessee? Are you going to be there, I hope?
Yeah, I'm planning to be down there for the kind of this show.
There you go.
Great to see you.
Yeah, the last time, well, no, it was the NRA convention, I think you busted out that 50, didn't it? Wasn't that the NRA?
Oh, yeah, we did. The suppressed 50 Tau, that's an awesome gun.
Oh, it's a beautiful gun. Now, I see online that you guys, I'm checking out your social media, looks to be a pretty big push for some Tommy guns. Do you have new Tommy gun models out?
Yeah, we do. We have actually we've developed a lightweight polymer, furniture for the Tommy gun, and it looks just like real wood. And boy, with the lightweight polymer furniture and the aluminum frame, it's about 8 pounds. It's unbelievable how light it is.
Yeah, that's 5 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with a Tommy gun, I have one, and it is no doubt the coolest gun I have in my collection. It really, truly is. That gun is just Greg, I guess I can say this. It's badass, if not bleep me, but that thing is unbelievable. It is the real deal. And Justin, every time people come over and want to see some of my guns, when I show them that, I wait for the right time, and people are blown away by that. They're like, "Oh my God, is that a Tommy gun?" Yes, but that's 5 pounds lighter than the TMI-1 or the TM1 model that I have, which is the old military version with the stick mag. I don't have the drum magazine. It won't take the drum magazine. That'll be my next purchase. But yeah, that's a 5 pound difference, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it shows us that we've got a lot of interesting guns coming out in the Tommy gun model, in the Tommy gun sector. So just look out. We'll be bringing out new stuff.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, follow them on Instagram. Follow Car Arms on social media, and you'll see these posts come out every day. And if you're like me, you'll salivate because it's a Tommy gun. I mean, it's a quintessential American firearm, and it's helped us win a few wars, I might add, as well. Parkland father Ryan Petty, we love you. How are you? Welcome to the show, my friend.
I'm doing well, Mark. Great to be here today.
Did you get any lead down range at your ranch today by any chance? Because you do, in fact, have a ranch.
I have a ranch and I have a range.
You have a ranch
today.
range.
Ranch range, yeah. Today I did not, but I try to as often as possible.
You have a ranch?
Yeah, he's not as grandiose as I am. That would be.
I'm not quite as grandiose as you.
You see, there's John Lott. We gave John the day off today, and Alan Gottlieb too, by the way, so they could spend some time with their family. They give us so much of their time, and they're so busy. So, guys, let's start with this lawsuit filed by the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation and the Firearms Policy Coalition and the American Suppressor Association. Yet again, guys, leading the pack. Brad, I'll start with you. But all three groups and some of the plaintiffs, along with Prime Protection STL Tactical Boutique and two members of said organizations, have just recently filed a couple days ago a new lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of the NFA, known as the National Firearms Act of 1934. And the case is known as Brown v. ATF. It was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Missouri, where I understand that 8 of the judges, of 10 judges there, I believe, Brad, were Republican appointees. So this stands a pretty good chance. And I think without legislation, this is going to be the only way we're going to be able to get this done. Would you agree?
We better get it done. To be honest with you, I was just thinking about this the other day, kind of getting frustrated all over again with the fact that Republicans had a chance to take care of this in that reconciliation bill and just end it once and for all. And, some of them chickened out. And what they left us with was, a half victory, but also potentially a big problem down the road, because if we don't win this lawsuit, maybe I'm ignorant, but I don't see what would stop Democrats from turning around and raising the NFA tax back up to, say, $10,000 an item.
Nothing.
So
you're spot on. You're absolutely correct. You're
Right.
not wrong about that at all. That is the fear. That's why it needs to be handled legislatively, or it needs to be handled and put to bed by the courts. And this is a case I'd love to see, make it all the way. The interesting part here is, suing the Trump DOJ via the ATF is going to be interesting to see how the administration handles this. Justin Moon, I'll let you take it from here, but we've got to get rid of that NFA. And I'll let you take us to the break, Justin, and then I'll tell you why I want him to why personally I want it gone. And it has something to do with one of your guns, but go ahead.
Well, with President Trump, we definitely have a better form of government, but we still have to remember that it's still a government bureaucracy.
Yes.
And government bureaucracies, no matter how much, we reform them, they always want to register our guns and always want to make us defenseless, because their aim is to play the long game. And they want us disarmed and weak so that they can tax us up the gazoo and turn us into tax slaves.
But you're right, and they've been trying that for years and years and years. It's an ongoing process with government, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's Democrat or Republican, mainly Democrat. But the Republicans are not immune to that. So, Ryan, I'll take this to the break and then come back and we'll go directly to you about this new lawsuit and why it's so critical and so important. But I will say this, Justin, my own personal selfish need for I want a Tommy gun SBR so bad. That's if that's the only gun I could buy next, if I was given the opportunity to buy any short-barreled rifle, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be that Tommy gun, because that is the real deal. And talk about just the historic, amazing. And if you've never fired one, and I'd really like to get it in full auto, because I have fired it in full auto on many occasions, and it's just wonderful. It is the quintessential American firearm. You can check them out at car.com, KAHR.com. They're right there on the page for you. We'll be back with the crew. We'll go to Ryan Petty when we come back. Don't go away.
The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, you really need to do that, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back indeed, but you do need to do that. You need to join the National Rifle Association. I had long conversations with the NRA weeks back and in person and via phone, you know, and I was very hard on the National Rifle Association, not the National Rifle Association itself, but on management. And through it all, over the years, I made this point very clear. If you own a gun, you must be a member of the National Rifle Association. And some people out there will fight me on this. I don't care. But you wouldn't have a Second Amendment that you have today if it wasn't for the National Rifle Association over the last 150 years. Forget those last years with Wayne LaPierre. Guess what? Wayne LaPierre is history. He'll get his due. Those days are over. The National Rifle Association is moving forward. And in order to do that, we just need you on the rolls. Help us get back to the 6 million. All right? Come back. If you left, if you're still a member and you need to rejoin, now's a great time to do it. Visit nra.org/AAR. Get the discount, get the free range bag, get the binoculars, whatever it is you choose. I don't care if you donate any more money, but please help us get back there. National Rifle Association makes this show possible every single day. We love working with them. They're the real deal. Ryan Petty, welcome back to the Car Firearms Group studios. I'm going to go to you. And, I wanted to jump on that NRA again, not just because of the rejoin, but because it is the Second Amendment Foundation. It is the Firearms Policy Coalition. It is Prime Protection STL Tactical Boutique. And it is the American I said ASA, sorry about that. And it is the National Rifle Association working in unison, hand in hand, to put a stop to the NFA. Ryan, look, with the tax stamp gone in the one big, beautiful bill, this should be a no-brainer. You're an FFL. You get this from the inside. Tell us about it. Tell us why it's so important this goes bye-bye.
Well, first of all, the justification for this has been that Congress has taxing authority, and so they've been able to tax a right, which, if you think about this, can you imagine the uproar from the left if you were taxed on your right to privacy as defined in the Fourth Amendment?
They
or if
wouldn't
you were
mind.
taxed on your right to free speech, right? The First Amendment. No, I think the committed leftists wouldn't mind. I think they see a world where those things are controlled by the government, bureaucrats, and people that think like them. But if you remember back to the Obamacare debates,
do I have to?
Just for a moment, go there with me.
Okay.
So if you'll remember, when that went in front of the Supreme Court, the question was really, is it a tax or not, right? And we can get into the semantics of whether or not it was a tax, but the Supreme Court upheld it because, and Chief Justice Roberts wrote, and this is why it's so important. You said something earlier, Mark, that's so important. It is the left, it is Democrats primarily, but Republicans jump in on this. Now, I don't know if Justice Roberts is a Republican or not, but he was appointed by a Republican. But this is the thinking that he has. He said about Obamacare: it makes going without insurance just another thing the government taxes, like buying gasoline or earning income. And if the tax is low enough, it's not coercive. Oh my gosh. When I read that, I just reread that he made that comment. So this is the mentality of the bureaucrat. This is what Justin was talking about. They want to tax us to death. They want to control our behavior, and they can do it through taxes. Now, Obamacare stood only because it was a tax. Now with this $0 NFA quote unquote tax, it's been laid bare, and now we see it for what it is, which is regulation of a constitutionally protected right. It needs to go.
All right, so I'm going to take what you just said, and I'm going to throw it over to Brad, because this is a round table, and it's what we do. Brad, we're sitting around the table. We got our feet kicked up. We're having a beverage. Let's have an open discussion about this right now, because you think like I do, but I want to have this conversation. As a law-abiding citizen, I am no threat to anybody, unless you're attempting to harm me or my family, my community, whatever it may be. Then I'm a huge threat to you, because I'm armed, and I'm lawfully armed. I believe I should be able to buy any gun I want out of a vending machine, without government permission as a law-abiding citizen. Would you agree with that statement?
100%.
And that would include a full auto 45 Tommy gun short-barreled rifle if I so choose, correct?
With a grenade launcher and grenades, for all I care.
All right,
yeah,
now,
totally okay with that.
You know, if you've ever seen the movie The Highwaymen, okay, Kevin Costner, Woody Harrelson, going after Bonnie and Clyde. You used to be able to walk, pre-1934, you used to be able to walk into a hardware store and buy those guns. You could buy a BAR, Browning Automatic Rifle, right off the rack. And there's a great scene in there, in that movie, where he does just that. Now, since that time, supposedly because of, organized crime at that time, which was all a part of Prohibition, government created organized crime with Prohibition. We don't have time to get into all that nonsense, but it's true. But they gave us all those gangsters as a result of that. Moonshine and everything else. Think Al Capone, the rest. That's when the National Firearms Act came out, and we've been banned. Then you go to the Gun Control Act of 68. Anything pre-1986 you can't buy anymore, or post-1986, you only buy pre-1986, etc. So how do you square that up? Let's take this guy in New York, all right? Let's have this conversation. We'll take it around the table. Because the left will say, can you imagine if he had a full auto military version of that gun, the damage he could have done? How do you square that up in conversation?
Well, I mean, first of all, full auto is, in my opinion, it's especially in a rifle is not super useful. It's fun, but there's a reason why the military M4 is only a 3-round burst and not full auto.
Right.
It's just not that great a way to fire a rifle. You know, the fact is that man in New York is a lunatic, and he had already made up his mind that people were going to die that day, and that's what happened. And there was nothing that was going to stop that if somebody didn't intercept him before he was able to take action. I mean, he did walk, through New York with that rifle, and nobody came across him to stop him. The fact of the matter is that sometimes liberty is dangerous. That's just what it is. When men are allowed to be free, there are some men who take advantage of it and are dangerous, and we need to deal with them with extreme prejudice. But the fact that liberty can be dangerous doesn't mean that we should restrict everybody else's freedoms. I shouldn't be held to account for what somebody else does. That's completely unfair. It's anti-American. It goes against Western civilization's philosophy. So the idea that just because one insane lunatic or bad actor may misuse something, that doesn't mean the rest of us have to pay the price for it.
Yeah, it's like governing, constitutional law based on polls, Justin, is it not?
Well, Mark, the American experiment, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the people were intended by the founders to be dangerous to the government. And so that's why the Second Amendment, protects actually the right for all bearable arms, military arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation. I'll go back to Justin on that. We lost you there briefly when your phone cut out, so we'll go back to you, and then we'll go to Ryan Petty. More to talk about. The roundtable continues. 2 more segments with Brad, Justin, and Ryan right after this. Don't go away. We'll see you on the flip side of the break, guys.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sebastian Gorka, letting you know that the Desperado Sport Fishing Crew in Virginia Beach, Virginia supports Armed American Radio and our right to bear arms. Now, back to Mark Walters.
Yes, back indeed. Armed American Radio's Monstercast continues. We're halfway through the roundtable. Buckle in, ladies and gentlemen. What's left of it is going to fly right by. Make sure to check out all of our great partners. You can find them all. Need coverage? Homeowners not covering your guns? Need guns covered for any particular reason? Maybe you keep some in the car, whatever it may be. X Insurance has you covered. Make sure to check them out. X Insurance will write a policy for you for anything you need. That's what they do. Daniel Defense, Defender Coffee. If you're going to drink coffee, why not drink coffee that supports the Second Amendment Foundation or any other organization out there? Because you tell them where you want them to send some of your profits. It's a no-brainer. Ammo Land Shooting Sport News. I get it. I've been writing for it for years as well. Been a little bit busy over the last couple years, but Ammo Land has everything you need. Just go to ammoland.com. Emerson Knives. Make sure to check them out. Use the promo code AAR. Heaven's Harvest for your emergency food supplies. Make sure to check out mypillow.com. mypillow.com/AAR. We just bought a ton of that stuff for my daughter who's moving out in a couple days. Loaded her right up with the pillow top mattresses, with the pillows, the whole 9 yards, and a bunch of other stuff, towels, everything at mypillow.com. We get the same discounts you get over there, ladies and gentlemen. barrelbuddy.com. barrelbuddy.com. We will have a promo code active for you this week at barrelbuddy.com. You're going to want to take advantage of that, trust me. patriotmobile.com. If you're watching on your devices, Patriot Mobile phone, patriotmobile.com. Sign up, use the AAR promo code, get a free month. It's that simple, a free month. Ammo Squared, start stacking over there. I've got thousands of rounds at ammosquared.com. budsgunshop.com, our exclusive online retailer. Make sure to check them out. Patriots Relief for all your pain relief supplies. And a lot of you do that. I see you on there, and it's great. Patriots Relief is the real deal. I use it every single day on my shoulders and my wrists, and the stuff works. PatriotsRelief.com. Use the promo code AAR, and you get 50% off over there. That's a great deal. Attorneys on retainer, I have one. I have a whole team. You should be too. If you carry a firearm, you need self-defense attorneys in your corner. Crossbreed Holsters, don't forget them. And we welcome CZ. You can visit CZ and check out all of their fine guns at cz-usa.com. And, of course, we are coming to you from the Car Firearms Group Studios, car.com, KAHR.com. And we've spent some time talking about that Tommy gun. We're going to keep doing that because, Justin, I should be able to buy a Tommy gun, SBR, full auto, if I want to. We got cut off there as we were going to the break. And as you heard Brad say, look, bad guys have things that we don't have. I should be able to have everything a bad guy has as a law-abiding citizen, quite frankly, Justin. It's pretty much that simple. What do you say?
Mark, you're absolutely right. I mean, the whole point of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is that the founders wanted the American citizen to be dangerous to a tyrannical government. So we should have all the military arms because that's what their purpose is for. If the government ever, gets too uppity and decides to try to bring communism on us, we're supposed to be able to defend ourselves from the government.
And I'm reminded when you say that, and I'll carry this over to Ryan. Ryan, you and I both were presented an opportunity, and because our schedules didn't work, to speak before David Hogg at a college campus up in Jackson, Kansas. KQAM listeners, you know where I'm talking about. I believe it's Crowley College. Don't hold me to that. I apologize if I'm butchering the name. Forgive me for that. I'm not real clear. But the Democrats, young Democrats, are having a rally. David Hogg is going to speak, and you and I had an opportunity to speak, but it was just too short notice for both of our schedules. Okay, but David Hogg was famously asked a question by a Chinese national who fled communist China, something that Justin and his brother, Pastor Sean, know all too well. And she asked a question when he was sitting in a quote-unquote debate, Ryan. Can you guarantee me our government will never become tyrannical? He said no. She goes, you're never getting my guns, ever, for that reason. Isn't that what we just heard from Justin?
Absolutely. That's the purpose. That's why we have them. I mean, this, look, somebody was mentioning, what happened in New York here. Here's what's wrong with what happened in New York, right? First of all, this guy was mentally ill. He had been showing disturbing signs of this behavior, propensity for violence for a long time. We're going to learn more about his history and background, but I guarantee you, I can sit here right now and guarantee you that more than one person was aware of it, and I wouldn't be surprised if law enforcement somewhere was aware of it. Every single one of these is a government failure. We're doing a bunch of things wrong. One is we see these warning signs and they're not taken seriously. Number two, we don't have the mental health infrastructure we used to have as a country. Specifically, the ability to commit people that are violent, and that's a whole nother show and a whole nother debate.
It is. But we used to.
So we used to, and here's the problem. Law enforcement's not paying attention. We don't have the ability to commit folks. And so what is the solution that other bureaucrats come up with? Well, let's punish all the law-abiding gun owners. It just doesn't make any sense what we're doing right now, but the left and gun control advocates love this because every time there's a shooting, they hope somebody will change their mind and be willing to give up their rights. And that's the wrong approach. Look, those people in New York deserved to be protected. I saw pictures of them barricading, with brutal sofa couches and desks.
Terrible, heartbreaking.
You know what? What they should have had? They should have had the ability. They have the right, but they should have had the ability legally to carry in that building and stop that killer the moment he walked in.
And they don't. And that's where tyranny begins, is by disarming you, Brad. You get it. And your answer originally was spot on. We do not, I'm not going to give up my constitutional rights because of the actions of a criminal, Brad, period. It's not going to happen. Now, let me flip gears here. And this was the last topic I had for us tonight, but trust me, we'll find more. But Mark McCloskey, guys, you remember Mark McCloskey, the McCloskeys in St. Louis, Missouri, victims of the BLM riots, who were protecting their house, the wife with her handgun, and Mark McCloskey with an AR-15, albeit an older model AR-15. Who cares? Doesn't matter how old it is. But he just got his gun back. And apparently she's going to get hers back. Now, this dates back to 2020 when they took his rifle, Brad, from him. He was acquitted of everything. Why so long? And why was it taken in the first place? And why didn't he get it back days later when he was acquitted of whatever he was charged with? Because we all know the politics that came into play, not enough time to cover it. But I feel good for the McCloskeys for finally getting their guns back. And he made a very bold statement on X. It was in a, I guess I saw it in a Fox piece. But I repeated his statement. We can never, ever, ever give up. We can never give up. And he is not giving up. He didn't just let his gun go, Brad. He said, I'm going to get my gun back. I don't care how long it takes. And he did. Isn't that a victory?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's his property. I'll say this. I mean, given the way some, police departments view citizens having those type of rifles, I was kind of surprised to see that thing hadn't gotten rusted out sitting in a property room somewhere, not being taken care of and not being kept in a good, dry environment. It looked like it's in pretty good shape. And so that was actually the first thing I looked at, is to see what kind of shape it was, because there have been some departments that have been known to, like, yeah, you'll get your gun back, but when you get it back, it's going to be pretty much trashed. So I'm happy he got it back. Looks like it's in good working order. The fact it took 5 years, somebody needs to lose their job over that, and a lot of people probably need to be sued in civil court over it, too, for violating that man's right.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to happen. Justin, when we come back from the break, I'm going to go to you, and then we'll go to Ryan about the same question. I saw the photographs, and I believe it was a video of him getting his gun back. And he did the same thing you were just talking about. He was checking it out and inspecting it, et cetera, but should never, ever, ever have taken that long. And hopefully there's a couple civil suits filed for that very reason, that it took so long for him to get his property back. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, they confiscated his personal property. And they should have never been able to do that. Maybe during the investigation. That was over a long time ago. That should have been handed back to him when it was said and done. We'll go around the table. We'll find some more to talk about. We always do. It's never ending because, as Ryan Petty tells us, the left will never stop. And we will be here to answer it every single day, because neither will we. We'll be right back.
is weird.
Yeah, right.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys
I
on
don't like the new playlist.
Self-Defense Program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Yeah, get you an attorney, ladies and gentlemen, for $35 a month. Absolute no-brainer. Okay? Just one of those things you just do. And honestly, it's one of those things you don't like to think about, but you kind of got to if you carry a firearm. And it's one of those things that you're going to have to wake up one day and go, you know what? Today's the day. Let me just do this and get it over with. And that's what you need to do with Attorneys on Retainer. Same thing with the NRA and everything else. I guess it's like that in everything in life, right? You just got to do it. But these are two things, particularly if you carry a firearm, get you this card, ladies and gentlemen, Attorneys on Retainer, and then follow the instructions on the back, which are going to be a little bit different on some of the other stuff you see out there from other organizations. All right, attorneysonretainer.us, attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. Now, I can't remember where we went. I was just having a conversation with Arizona Rep. Kwong Win during the break. Justin, did I wrap up with you and then go into Ryan, or did I not get to you yet?
No, you got to me, Mark.
Okay, so we're flipping over to Ryan. Ryan, let me turn it over to you. And I think we were talking about McCloskey's. Is that where we were at, or did I blow right by that?
Nope, we were on McCloskey's.
Go for it. It's all yours. Thank you for helping me out.
Yeah, look, I kept thinking, I saw him pick up his firearm. It's been, 5 years now, something like that. I think, look, if the guy doesn't sue them, they should be paying him rent or something for taking his firearms away. But this kind of nonsense has got to stop. This is the ability to confiscate somebody's firearms that's just being charged. This should have been done. It should have been over 2 years ago. The guy is owed money. Government has to be taught a lesson. And the way you teach government a lesson is a big settlement. That's the only way these bureaucrats will learn. And somebody there, I don't know who in the Missouri government can do this, but somebody should lose their job. And if the governor, if it's anything like Florida, if it's an elected official, the governor can remove them. They should be removed from their job. But again, the way you teach government a lesson is a big settlement.
Yeah, I like the way you phrase that. And Brad, let me flip over to you. This was in Missouri, a very decidedly pro-gun state for the most part, but St. Louis is not, right? It's like digging into any other blue city. You got a blue city surrounded by a sea of red, and blue cities act like blue cities. They screw their citizens out of their rights. And that's exactly what happened in this particular case. Brad, I just wanted to throw that at you and just kind of get your thought on that. Because, again, this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you live behind the blue wall. Tyranny takes over, and you can see it on full display. Brad, help me out.
Yeah, Ryan's actually absolutely right. In my experience with local government, the only way a lot of time, first of all, local government is usually actually the worst government. They can affect your life in ways that the federal government can only dream of. And frankly, a lot of times the only way to make those people do right is to sue them. That is the only thing that they fear, is being sued and getting taken to task in court. And so that's what you have to do, because they're not going to do right otherwise. They're not going to just on their own volition, come to Jesus and start doing the right thing. They're always going to choose the path that gives them the most gratification or puts money in their pockets or scores them political points. Missouri is a good state for the Second Amendment. Their attorney general, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but that dude's a rock star.
Andrew Bailey.
And you're
talking about Andrew Bailey. You're talking about Andrew Bailey, and he's been on this show, and I will be talking with him at the Goals coming up this week. Yes, you're right. He is a rock star. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So maybe he can get involved and put some people through the ringer and make them wish they had respected this man's rights, because again, they deprived a man of his private property with no legal basis for 5 years. That is completely ridiculous, and I can't think of any justification for it other than the fact they were intentionally dragging it out to make a point, to make an example of him, to hope he goes away. Whatever it was some local political hacks, people's agendas, trying to score some points is all it was.
And they used race in there insidiously as well. It was very blatant when we go back to those BLM days, which we hopefully never go back to ever again. Justin, Mayor Adams in New York City has put a piece out in the New York Post yesterday. Fighting gun violence in NYC starts with getting criminals and illegal weapons off the streets. So the first thing I want to say is I want to make a statement. How do you get illegal weapons off the street? What is the definition of an illegal weapon? We already saw somebody intent on committing murder doesn't care about any law. But here's what he had to say in his piece. As we have seen time and time again, the availability of guns in this nation is a major factor in the deaths of these 4 innocent New Yorkers. When guns are on the streets and in the hands of anyone with a few $100s, the danger expands from states that have lax gun laws to anywhere in America. Now, to Mayor Adams and any New York Democrat politician, Justin, anywhere outside of New York, as far as they're concerned, has lax gun laws. Hochul's already saying the whole country needs our laws. Mom Dami, the commie, is out there screaming, we need the whole country, and we all got to fight, so everybody has New York gun laws. When we know that no criminal will ever say, they made that gun illegal. I can't use that one anymore. Why the excuses, Justin? Because it's all it is. Take it away.
Well, we know why they're making excuses, because they're pro-bureaucrat and they're not pro-American freedom. You know, it's very clear. New York City, the solution to that mass shooter was, is to give everybody who wants a concealed carry permit a concealed carry permit and get everybody in the city armed. Then that mass shooter would have been dead, and the people in that building would have had the means to defend themselves.
Yeah, and I'll take this over to you, Ryan, with the time that we have left. Brad, hopefully we'll get to you because this could have been a topic for the hour. Adams made the following statement. New York City is built on our commitment, Ryan, to public safety and the courage of our NYPD officers who truly are New York's finest. Their dedication to protecting each and every New Yorker is what makes everything else we do as a city possible. There are 10 million to 12 million people that live in the vicinity of New York City, and there are not 12 million cops, Ryan. While they're dedicated to that, most of them are, they cannot be everywhere. Why do they fail to acknowledge that? Take us to the music, or if not, we'll get it to Brad real quick.
Look, they live in La La Land, right? They live in this fictitious world that doesn't exist where they can control evil through law and regulations, and that's not the way the world works. And the left refuses to acknowledge that there are evil people in the world that are intent on hurting others, and they want to control how you and I are able to respond to those threats and that evil. And until they change their philosophy, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, the left is never going to quit. We have to do everything we can to defend and protect the rights that were acknowledged by our founders, given to us by our God.
And that requires a fight, ladies and gentlemen. Join every organization out there you can. We work with some great ones. You can start there. Brad, the music is going to take us to the end, but I'm going to close with you with just a real quick question and a real quick answer. You're former military. You've been there, seen it, done it. You're former law enforcement. Will evil ever stop, Brad?
No, never. It never stops. It never rests. It never takes a break. It's always there.
And who is it up to defend and protect ourselves? Is it up to the cops or is it up to us?
It's up to us, the people of the United States.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. We love our Sundays. We love our Monster Cast. Car Arms CEO, Justin Moon. Justin, thank you. Looking forward to seeing you next weekend, and you'll be back on the program next weekend as well after we hang out for a little bit in Knoxville, Tennessee. Ryan Petty, God bless you. Thank you for everything that you do. Brad Premo, you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get up and do it again tomorrow because they don't want us to. Enjoy what's left of your day. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the radio tomorrow.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here today. Appreciate it very much. That 3 hours, as it always does on Sunday, just whoosh, flies right by, right? So here, carry on, carry often, carry absolutely everywhere. Never, ever, ever leave your cave without your club. No self-respecting caveman would have ever been caught outside his cave without his club. His cave woman wanted him home so he could care for the family and bring back food, all of which is done with his club. You have a better tool. Carry it, use it, defend yourself. Hopefully you never have to, but be ready in case you do, okay? And visit all of our partners, please. Support each and every one of them. They make the show possible every single day. So support them. If you got a couple extra coins floating around, pick something up from them. They've got great products, and they support you through this show. Thank them in return. It's really easy to do. Visit armedamericanradio.com. Guys, enjoy what's left of your day, and we'll see each and every one of you on the radio tomorrow. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow, guys.